tonight, the music of the legendary big band singer Artie Shaw will be celebrated by this guy this weekend in Vista.
Tad Calcara is here to tell us all about this weekend's tribute concert and give us a bit of a preview, tell us a little bit of the history. And, you know, I had heard the name, obviously, Artie Shaw. Everyone has. And one time or another, it comes up in an old movie you'll watch or whatever. But this morning I sat down and actually Googled and did a little research, and I was blown away by the amount of music, the number of albums, the people that he worked with, and you said, of course, that you get to the
amount of marriages. The amount of marriages.
Well, he was a very colorful character back in the 1930s and 40s, and for people who aren't familiar with him, he's essentially like what Elvis Presley was in the 1950s or the Beatles were in the 1960s. Artie Shaw was the big superstar back at that time, and he didn't gyrate, he didn't sing, he didn't play the guitar, he played the clarinet. He was a great, gifted artist and musician and very serious about what he did. And he became very popular after 1938.
This is you. Look at you go, boy.
Well, this is...
well,
it isn't easy playing stuff like that. Art Shaw was very difficult to play and to try to duplicate. And so it's an interesting challenge this weekend to try to get into the Artie Shaw mode
and how do you do that? Do you take yourself back there? What do you do?
Well, first of all, what's interesting about this concert is that we're using a lot of the original arrangements, and they're on loan to us from the Artie Shaw Estate and Archives located in the University of Arizona. So they generously let us use this stuff for this weekend. So we're actually playing from copies of the original manuscripts. Wow. Some are 60 and 70 years old.
Probably combination handwritten, some of them.
Exactly. Oh yes, pre-computer and word processor. Everything is handwritten, and it's very interesting. Some of the arrangements are in various states of deterioration, so we have to kind of restore and actually do a lot of historic listening to the original recordings to make sure that we're performing
them properly. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started.
Well, I grew up in a musical family. I was born and raised in Oceanside. I graduated from Oceanside High School, and my father was a clarinet player. He was my first teacher, in fact, and loved classical music. We had classical music playing throughout the house growing up. My mother loved to sing in her church choir. My father's father, my grandfather and grandmother, they lived in Carlsbad, not far away, so I spent a lot of time there, and my grandfather had a very popular band here in North County and San Diego back in the 1960s. It was called the Calcara Musicals, and they were kind of based at the Camp Pendleton Staff NCO Club.
So which one is your grandfather?
Well, this is my grandfather right here, and I might add that today is his 87th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Yay.
Well, as I said, very popular band here in the North County area for many years. And
so it's in your blood, basically.
Yeah, essentially, I got the classical training from my mother and father, and I got the more popular swing music, jazz training from my grandparents. So,
tell us what people can expect this weekend when they come to see you.
Well, I think for people who grew up during that time, I think they're going to have a real nice nostalgic walk down memory lane to hear the stuff. For people who weren't from that time, I think we'll be treated to some really exciting music. I find this music to be extremely timeless. You know, this is the music of the New Deal, Franklin Roosevelt, World War II. This music was like the soundtrack for that whole era. And to me, it sounds just as fresh as it did 70 years ago.
When the world was changing.
All right, so for everyone, get your pencils, paper, get your stuff together. Here's what you need to do. Write this down. This is in Vista. It's at the Moonlight Amphitheater. It's Saturday at 7 o'clock, and it's a tribute to Artie Shaw, of course, that's what you've been hearing. And Tad, how long is it going to last? I mean, how many hours of music are they going to get?
Well, we could go all night. But
it's written like a thousand
absolutely.
songs.
Well, what we're trying to do is kind of showcase, you know, highlights from his career. So we'll kind of go chronologically from about as early as one of our earliest pieces. We're trying to show a little bit of what influenced Shaw and his artistry. So we'll start a little bit in the 20s, but the main focus will be between 1938 and 1945.
All right, well, head out to the amphitheater, everybody, on Saturday.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Happy birthday to your grandpa.
Yeah, thank you, Tad. Hey,
yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, likewise.
All right, when we come back, we will tell you what we have in store for you on Monday on Inside San Diego.